Good evening, one and all. Welcome to this round 6 of the Westpac Women's Premiership. It's Nick Neary and Donnie Bell in the box as always. Donnie, a big one tonight, and while the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs, most of them are away, is it time for Joondalup to come to play?
Well, it's certainly an opportunity for them, isn't it? It's a bit of a, like an NRL State of Origin round where the State of Origin players aren't available, and all of a sudden it provides an opportunity for those other players that we maybe don't talk about as often during the call. They get a chance here tonight to really step up and make a name for themselves.
Yeah, we're almost just about to get started, so we'll do a bit of our extra pre-game through this first half. But as stated, there are a lot of Ellenbrook Rabbitohs outs this evening. I'll quickly touch on the Joondalup ones. We've got Zion Maria away for the Joondalup Giants, and one more, I believe, in Chanel Edwards and Ellie Warren. So the 3 outs there. But then you look on the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs side of things. Samantha Turene, Aaliyah Gray. Then back onto the other page, we got Maharangi Clare, Kaylee Thompson, Frida Arsam, and Macy Simpkins, and Arena Ruru Hanaki. So a lot of that core backline and structure, and a couple of props involved too, Donnie. So there's a lot of outs.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've highlighted it beautifully there, that the whole spine is out, and that means there's going to be some new generals in town for the Rabbitohs. Guiding them around the park, and there's going to be a job for them to do. They may be a little bit disjointed, and as you said, it might provide an opportunity for the 4th place Joondalup Giants to get a big scalp here tonight.
Well, they managed to get a lot of points on the board last week, which is probably something they've just been lacking so far this year, was the ability to score tries. Well, they got up over the Bulldogs 62-12, and that 12 points is probably the only marker on the evening where defence is going to be a question against the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs as always, but at least getting those numbers on the board certainly does help. It wraps up our table into round 6 with Willagee Bears on top, still undefeated with 4 wins. Ellenbrook Rabbitohs 3-1 with that only loss to the Willagee Bears themselves. Fremantle Roosters holding 3rd with 2-2, and then it's the Joondalup Giants with 1 win and 3 losses. Kalamunda Bulldogs in 5th, 0-4 at the moment. Underway first up though, Donnie.
Well, the Giants towards the sideline, I think that's gone into touch. You saw there Turner tried to keep it in, but she stepped out before touching the ball. So she's made it out. It'll be a Giants ball, so a great result straight from the kickoff.
Here at Admiral Park as well, home of the Joondalup Giants. Just the one game this evening. They were split across 2 venues. That's why we got the 7 o'clock start time. And it looks like they've drawn in a pretty good crowd here up in the northern suburbs.
These two teams, the old rivals, they played in pretty much every grand final in the women's competition. Joondalup winning the last 2, the defending champs, but struggling a little bit early this year, but not struggling right now is Edwards, taking that forward. A good, strong carry. Put down by Tuimalu. Now the Giants looking for a shift through the middle with Matiu. Sarah Arsam makes the tackle. Parakura Shernak works to Gilmore Spence, holds that up there for Harrison. Almost stops as she gets to the ball. Parakura Shernak again to Gilmore Spence. Now Smiler looking to be ball player. Not really her strength, but she takes it to the ground, centre field, just a couple of metres out. And they take it to the line now. The Giants, well, the Ellenbrook Eels, the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs were on their heels. And the Giants go straight through.
I believe it was Jessica Collins. A good little turn of pace underneath as well. Just spotted that little gap and was rapid to that last 10 metres. A little bit of napping going on. 4-0 with a kick to come. Certainly the start the Joondalup Giants are after. I suppose it rolls into the next question, Donnie. Who are the ones that have got to step up tonight from Joondalup, maybe get this win across the line?
Well, I think we saw early in that set, I think their front row, Amaria Edwards, very, very important. Kiri Smiler, an experienced campaigner as well. I think that those players setting the platform. And Matamawika in the Jersey 5 taking the conversion attempt. A player I was a little surprised not to see on the plane to Victoria. Very, very dangerous ball runner. Got great footwork, hard to tackle when she gets going. Coming in to show that she can kick goals as well. Makes this one 6-0.
I think you're spot on with all of those, especially Moeka, Donnie, and then probably one where Sinead Gilmore-Spence can use her frame pretty well tonight, draw some line, and then we always get the good passing out of her, but I think I want to see a lot up in towards the line from her tonight, and then later in the second half start dishing it to the outside a bit better. A couple of good ones that can step up. It's a perfect start here for the Giants. They get the air up, they convert the try. 6-0 is the way we want to go. Ellenbrook Rabbitohs will be looking to go deep the other way. Looks like Kearney Curran with the tee duties back over at halfway.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the try scorer, Michelle Grace-Matthew, had two strong runs in that set, including the one to score the try. And last tackle, it just felt like the Rabbitohs just were waiting for the kick. And we're just losing vision.
Fascinating.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it just felt like she lost the Rabbitohs sort of on their heels and were waiting for the kick rather than getting up to make the tackle. As we're back with live pictures, and luckily you don't have to just watch us talk about the first 3 minutes for the next hour, but we're ready to go. Matthew taking that one forward as now the Giants take a little bit of an exploration out of dummy half, come back to the try scorer. Heavily involved, Matthew, as now they go from Wiley, looking down that right-hand side. Rabbitohs making the tackle with Leach. And they get to their kick now, so we get the first chance to see the Rabbitohs with ball in hand. The bounces away there from Turner. Ends up in the hands of Lowndes. Now the Rabbitohs. Turner comes in for a carry. The ball's come free. How's it come out? Referee's happy to play on that she's maintained control. Narsam gets her first carry.
Pretty neutral spot in the centre of the ground here. Looking just to string things together early in the game. Oh, Leach nowhere to really go. Penalty offside. Almost a gift of a penalty, able to just work this one to the corner if someone's got their kicking boots on. Looks like that's the option we will end up taking through Curran. A very nice fair night here in WA once again. It was a wet weekend last weekend and certainly wet throughout the week, but it's going to hold off for the weekend now, so this is about as wet as it gets underfoot. Good attacking opportunity for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. Finishing off the hard work after the kick, Curran will go pretty straight. Rolls through a couple early. And Leach will go out the right-hand side to Rower. Keeps things up the hey diddle diddle for now. Joondalup Giants very vocal in defence so far this evening. Straight lines. Pessanay-Grinnell. Metres gained. He's not going to be the issue for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs tonight. Arsam just tries to cut in on a bit of an angle. Sticks out from the line. Slow to get it off the deck, but eventually now Toby. Backdoor Lowndes. Tries to go over the top, intercepted. Nicely held on to. Joondalup Giants hold on the line. Might have been a penalty for offside. Or a little knock in there as well.
I think the knock on from Munro has intercepted it and bobbled it in the contact and has come up with a knock on. So the Rabbitohs will get the scrum feed. Get a pretty good indication from in that set as to what the Rabbitohs' tactics are going to be. Pretty simple, pretty basic. They're going to try and go straight through the middle of the Joondalup Giants and maybe get a little bit more expansive on the last tackle, but I don't think they're going to do too much as they try and use the ball there and show exactly why they kept it simple. They put a couple of passes and knock on first play. When you've got a huge turnover of players, you ran through that list pre-game. It's how many they've got out. Moika trying to get dangerous, but gets into Lowndes. Now the Giants just trying to bring it off their own end after having to do a bit of defence. They held on nicely. They lead this one 6 points to 0 on the Westfield scoreboard. As Gilmore Spence goes right to the line. Wanted that straight runner, but by the time she got there, it was pretty well telegraphed and read easily by Toby. As Gilmore Spence holds it out in front, turns it underneath.
Last. Thought that was last. My apologies, Donnie. I freaked you out there.
Should be the final play now. Gilmore Spence does put the kick down to Lowndes. There's a penalty. Late contact on the kicker. Well, you do all the good work and you come through trying to put a bit of pressure on the kicker, and we've said it a few times this season, there's really no reward for putting pressure on the kicker. If you make any sort of contact, there's a good chance you're going to get penalised for it. So a great opportunity now for the Giants.
Got to stay composed as they enter into this attacking set. Crunching hit out of the line. Good work by Willow Leach. Came second person in. Smiler just juggling on forward. Lost control, and that's not the set to beat.
Well, both teams have had chances to attack, and both teams coming up with errors early in the tackle count. Release the pressure valve pretty easily. Now the Rabbitohs. And not quite as many passes from that scrum win. Toby just takes it straight from the base. Takes the tackle. Let's see if they just try and power through the middle. Bit of light stepping there on first play before the forwards get involved. Leach out a dummy half. Again, nothing too expansive. And now a mistake from Leach. Has just lost it on top of another player.
Good eyes by the referee as well. I didn't find one in there, but confidently called. Defensive pressure's been amazing so far. Both teams able to come out of the line, put 2 or 3 on.
We're directly in the middle, outside this side.
Just got to get one more in for Joondalup Giants here. They're switching halves. Might be a little set piece in the centre of the ground.
Well, it was interesting. Gilmore Spence was arranging the troops, so whatever she had set up goes by the wayside. You see Lowndes trying to get to the outside, use her speed. They have a look down the short side. Come back centrally with Edwards. Now Matthew, the try scorer, gets collared over the shoulder. High contact, slow to her feet. Cheryl Grace Matthews been very, very heavily involved. It shows that she's not injured. She's straight back into it. Smiler wants a carry. Gets it. Looks to use a frame to get towards the try line. She's not far away. Parakura Chernak holds it out. Gilmore Spence dummies to the outside. I think she created a bit of space out on the wing. They go from dummy half now. The Giants. And short of the line. Harrison to dummy half. She was always going to go. The Rabbitohs knew she was always going to go and was easily contained, but they've still given away the penalty for being offside. They jumped early.
Just creeping a little bit too much. Yeah, they read it too well. Back on the Gilmore Spence play just quickly, Donnie, as well. That's what I want to see out of her in this first half, even with more conviction. Don't worry about the space you've created on the outside. I want that draw in. Too involved.
Well, I think that's rough. I think there was only Emerson Robinson. I think she came away with that clean, but referee said there was 2, so there was 2. Smiler takes the first carry, so the Rabbitohs, they've been under a bit of pressure here. Perhaps that one-on-one strip showing that they know they're about to break. Parakura Chernak to dummy half. Oh, and it's put down by Grace Matthew, who's not happy with herself.
Probably just a little bit flat and a bit excited. The Joondalup Giants, though, off the back of those last 2 penalties, they've really got a good goal line attack looming, but they're just catching it flat-footed 3 metres away from the defensive line, and yeah, having to make a snap decision on where they're going to step next. Maybe just take a little bit of pressure off yourselves, set a bit deeper. Plenty of opportunity, obviously being gifted up by Rabbitohs early. You've got to take better advantage. Still up 6-0 though, 13 minutes into the first half. And the Rabbitohs not looking all too likely unless they go up the middle again this whole set.
It's funny, isn't it? We saw that first set they had the ball. It worked pretty well, and they haven't really done it since.
Haven't had too much ball either, though. Comes out the side for Tao to get involved in the middle. Good intensity. Still took 3 involved in the tackle to make it happen. Really slow to get up. There's a big Tangler mess on the floor. Inside check available. Not going to be taken. Might be Beard going through the middle. And a little bit too slow again. Lots of whistle early in this one, but a lot of it warranted. Probably just asking for a higher level of discipline out there so far, the referee.
You're just using the player to sort of help herself up there. I think it was the front rower, Edwards, getting penalised for that one, and the Rabbitohs, they get the penalty, and they'll go down into a decent attacking position in this set.
Well, there's no Westfield scoreboard updates for now. Losing connection just down to the ground. Hopefully we'll be right back in just a couple of seconds. Looks like we're getting a bit of action back now.
There we go.
Don't want you staring at our cheese board for too long. You'll think less of the box from there. Nice little jink on the inside. This is the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs attacking 40 you see on screen. Still early in the set off the back of that penalty. Inside for Campbell. Just gets hooped around at knee level. Stopped all progression. Outside ball, Toby. Showed one. Goes herself, then gets crunched backwards as well. So they've advanced up the field nicely, but still no real chance to attack. Pomare sends it deep. They're going to go up and under. Little tester for Herrera. Might have even been the winger coming in. Doesn't look like Herrera sitting there at fullback. And they handle this defence nicely. Have a little breakout themselves, Joondalup.
Well, the Rabbitohs, they'll be happy just to get to a completed set. Got to their kick, put it down the other end. Now they work for a mistake. They have made a few errors themselves. Put them under some pressure. So now the Giants with Gilmore Spence. Goes across, dummies to the first runner. Getting the arms free. Opting against the offload, probably wisely. So keep going down this left-hand corridor. And a forward pass. So the offload from Harrison goes forward. Picked up straight away by the touch judge on this near side. Didn't hesitate to make the call.
It's been a lot of whistle early. 16 minutes gone. We've seen a lot of it, Donny, but to be honest, it's good whistle. There's really good whistle around tonight. This team of 3 already working well together. Not letting anything slip by, setting a good standard. Might be slowing the game down, but not their fault. Spot a penalty, spot a forward pass, got to call it.
Are you okay?
Because we had the combined affiliated states and territories tournament going on in Victoria at the moment. And the Western Australia girls, they took on the Northern Territory today and had a big win. So WA 26-6 winners over the NT Titans. So they're doing us proud over there on day one, but Victoria is the target in both competitions.
And I think we've got the squad to get it done just quietly, Donny.
It's a strong start.
Always nice when you get the rub of the draw with that confidence, build a game first before rolling into the next big one. Giants 35 metres out. Nice little run from half. Gilmore Spence wants it on the outside. Wasn't heard in time. Still got plenty of numbers out to the left-hand side of the ground. This Gilmore Spence now shows will release this time for Harrison. Got through the first tackle, but then wrapped up by Passanagranel. just loose getting up to the feet. Turnover for the Rabbitohs once again.
Well, it's a frustrating few minutes for Amy Harrison. She came up with a forward pass a moment ago. Now a knock-on in the play the ball. And just a couple of errors when the Giants were in pretty good field position as well. It's not where you want to hand it over. You want to be putting the Rabbitohs under some pressure and hopefully going over for points. She'll certainly keep working hard, try and make up for it. It's Toby to feed this scrum. The Rabbitohs turn it underneath now for Curran. Put down on her back. Centre field, 20 metres out from her own line. They go a couple off the ruck to Gray. Just out onto the field. Campbell just on the outside shoulder was screaming for it. I don't know how many times you want to waste Campbell.
Oh, dummies again.
They go out wide with Robinson. It looks like she switched sides. She was on the right-hand side earlier. She's going over to the left now. And here comes Campbell. Off the back fence. Again, the Rabbitohs getting to their kick. Put it down the other end. Taken there by Munro. Held up in the tackle, and Tukiwaho drives her backwards with the help of Stevens.
There's just a little bit more pace from the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs through that entire set, though. Shorter steps, a little bit more going forward, and a few more running lines. That's a better look. Starting to warm into this game. Coming up on 10 minutes to go in the first half. Giants halfway through their set and haven't really progressed as nicely as they would have hoped so far. Numbers are all short side out the right. They can play with a bit of space left instead. Not really coming anywhere. Tukiwaho out of the line, shut down the early passing option. Gilmore Spence takes it behind her body, has to juggle it a couple of times and slams it back down in disgust. That's probably the costly turnover. Rabbitohs look like they're just getting warm. Now get a turnover inside opposition half. A couple of direct ones up the middle, and I think we'll be looking towards one of the corners in the air.
We'll look to start the set with Lowndes. Went one way, came back through the middle. Gilmore Spence trying to make up for her area. Is around the legs. Toby, dummies on the outside to Gray, goes herself. A few show and goes from Toby early. Pomare. Now they look to go through Tukiwaho. Pomare, she wants to go. Not quite the quick play the ball she wanted, and it's going to be a penalty against the runner play, against the player with the ball for not using the foot in the play the ball.
He's always using the ball and the hand on the ball as a balancing sort of aid there for a second. Just missed it, Tukiwaho. Trying to get a little bit more injection into this half. Left it behind again. Play on at least. But almost big drama for the Giants. Still scoreless against them. They want to keep it that way in this first half, that's for sure.
Well, Emerson Robinson again was looking for a one-on-one strip. She got one earlier and was ruled 2 in the tackle. Again, she was ripping at the ball as the first player in contact. That might be one to keep an eye on. And there's something to keep an eye on. The Giants coming up with a knock-on. Threw that one towards the Rabbitohs.
I think this one's probably got to now be the best opportunity. This has been mounting for a couple of plays. Pressure's on the Giants to defend. That is really forward. That's really gone forward. That's hard to do. Me, that stats man, producer Dave, how far forward was that?
I don't even know that the stats man measures that one. He's 1 metre ruler, not long enough.
Munro settles it. Not Munro, Stevens, apologies. Tukiwaho again gets another carry. This time looking for the toe as this one goes underneath.
Make sure of it.
Yeah, good connection underneath. Toby switch inside, Gray. Advanced field position, one in hand. Kamare goes left. Flat line, Wall just fades out on an angle, gives a little offload. They try keep it alive, just need to settle. Still got the tackle, they want to go White into the corner. Robinson breaks the first couple, could be over. Emerson Robinson gets the first for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. 4-6 with a kick to come, and that was just brewing for a few minutes off the back of the Giants. A little unsteady underfoot.
Yeah, they've been building into this game, the Rabbitohs. They're starting to look better and better the longer this game goes, and again, just keeping it nice and simple, and getting the job done, getting across the line. Emerson Robinson had to break a couple of tackles. They found a bit of space out wide. The Giants' defence adjusted fairly well.
They got out. They just didn't come. Well, the rest of them didn't come across to help with the coverage. Relatively important kick by the scheme of this game so far. I don't think either of these two are going to be too gassed at the end of the 60 minutes, so I think it's going to be a tight game. This will be a pretty important kick. It's only going to leave us about 5 minutes until the halftime break post-kick.
It's not often we get a chance to see a different goal kicker for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. To see if Gray is any sort of Kaylee Thompson impersonator.
Wasn't too much in terms of routine. Didn't get it clean, but got it over, that's for sure. Was really, really, really careful about putting the ball on the tee. But then after that, there wasn't that much going on in terms of setup. There wasn't any waiting at the back of the mark for the heart to settle. And you could see that the way the ball came off the boot. But as it's been shown to me, they're all worth 2 points if they get over the middle.
Count it.
6-all.
If a brick goes in, it's still worth 2 points.
Oh, 5 minutes to go until the halftime break. Very even out here. No real team has put their ascendancy on this one tonight. It's been the errors that have played the oppositions in. It's gone very quiet after that try as well. Joondalup fans, they're here tonight. They are here. They need to just make a little bit more noise for their team.
Well, also noticeable how slow the Giants were to get back to halfway. So, maybe fatigue playing a role for them, and they're keen to get to half-time. That could be dangerous if the Rabbitohs want to play a bit of footy here.
It's a good chase for the first tackle. Not so much on the second up tackling efforts. Bustling through the middle of the ground was Robinson. Going to be hard to stop for the rest of the night. You're going to have to get extra special attention there. Nowhere for Kamare to go.
With the good meters. Now Wall turns it underneath. It's Rabbitohs going through the middle. The back end of this set. Kamare at dummy half. Goes across now to Toby. Toby out the back to Lowndes. Lowndes straightens through the hole. One to beat. She's got players on her outside but ran out of room. Just drops it backwards on tackle 5. Still a play up their sleeve. Kamare goes across now. And Gray is going to go to the sky and taken easily there by Naria. Well, it was brewing for the Rabbitohs.
Just rushed that kick. I understand we had a broken play and we were on 5th tackle. But no one from the Joondalup Giants was even coming up in defence, and you've kicked it to 6 of them. Yeah,
no, it's one where you probably could have taken that one right to the line and asked some questions of the Giants. They just sat back waiting for the kick, and they made it pretty easy for them.
I do like that look out on the right-hand side between Toby and Lowndes. That's twice they've played that deep line out to the right, and it looks like it's going to work again.
It's just using that speed, and Toby's got enough speed of her own, and if she can get to the outside shoulder and give Lowndes a bit of space, you think that's going to break the Giants down at some point.
Early doors in there set the Giants, just working through this one. Joe Solomon had to come in, and we get an early kick. Was that Jean Topaz Porter, I believe, just kicking it up just past halfway. Early release, and they're going to have to defend pretty well here. 2.5 minutes until the halftime break. Going to want to defend this one pretty well. Don't want to concede again. Happy to go in all square, 6 apiece. See what kind of rush the Rabbitohs put up in force. Gilmore Spence out of the line, makes the tackle. Pomare keeps funneling out to the right. Arsam running on the shoulder and breaks the first tackle. 40 metres the trip. Nice flat ball. Passanagranel underneath for Fisher. Hasn't really got too much footy in the first half yet. Toby again. Plays real wide. Stevens gets underneath the first one. Tries to throw the miracle ball. Knocked backwards off Munro. It's going to be adjudicated forward first off the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs, and that'll probably get us, as long as they can keep this one in hand, towards the halftime break if they complete the set. Still had a tackle in hand. Just probably happy to accept that one, Donny.
Yeah, just forcing the pass a little bit of inexperience there, I think, from Stevens. As we have a look at the replay, just tried to force it out. And there wasn't really much there. There was enough Giants there to cover it. And I think that's a situation where you just take the tackle, play the ball, and have another go on next play. Well, I wonder if there's any thought of taking the 2 points. It doesn't look like that's going through their head at all, but it's 6-all with a penalty right in front. I'd be thinking about 2. Ooh. The Rabbitohs are not. Let's see if that pays off. Sam charges into them. Trying to make the call a good one right away. Paiho Pomare has a go. She's held up. Knees underneath the ball. Desperation from Moika. Now they try and get barge across. Talmia towards the line. Talmia fights towards the line and just can't get there. Pomare again fires the ball out to the left. They've got numbers out wide. They have to score. It comes across to Curran, steps in, and the option to take the tap proves a good one.
Well, I mean, they got 7, 8, 9 involved in the middle of the ground. The Joondalup Giants spinning it wide was very good by the Rabbitohs. And there's the stroke at half time. Yeah, that's worked out tremendously. I thought when Arsam didn't crash over first up, that was going to be all said and done. Pomare couldn't get it done. They just had 7, 8 tacklers underneath the sticks, the Giants, and this is great recycling out wide. Ellenbrook Rabbitohs through Curran, get it down. 10-6, kick to come, halftime siren already gone. Tricky one to score and convert from, but a 4-point lead is very handy where there should have just been a run into the halftime break. 6 apiece all day if you get the scrum right.
Well, yeah, again, I'm curious to know what the scrum penalty was for. He was frustrated by something, the referee.
The first one was feeding early, but I don't think the ball, to be honest, I wasn't looking intently enough for a penalty at the next scrum packing.
That's a scrum penalty. You don't see it anywhere, but we see it every week in Western Australia. I think everyone says, "Oh, you haven't seen one of them since 1985." I said, no, we see them every week in WA. They love a scrum penalty.
So gone for the left foot Curran.
Score the try, get a chance to convert your own from the touchline.
So relaxed, has plenty of time to chat to her teammates. Good strike.
It's a decent nudge.
Underneath, unable to convert, but good enough. Joondalup Giants, well, they had the early lead, 6-0. Rabbitohs scored the next 2 into the halftime break. They lead this one 10 points to 6 in the Westpac Women's Premiership. We'll take a short little break now and be right back with your second half right after this. Welcome back. Second half of the Westpac Women's Premiership. Ellenbrook Rabbitohs and the Joondalup Giants. 6-10 in favour of the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs at the moment. The other game this evening being played at the exact same time. Willagee Bears 28 leading the Kalamunda Bulldogs 6. A tremendous little afternoon of footy here in WA once again. But this is the team of the week, Donny. Producer Dave toiled on getting this graphic ready and he was mad we didn't go to it before the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about producer Dave. It's not Caleb Reedy putting this team together and watching all the footage and making sure all the best players get recognised. But it's all about producer Dave here with this graphic. And isn't it an absolute beauty? Namata Mawika, we've called her name a bit. They're at fullback. Amy Harrison playing tonight as well. Lowndes out there. Lots of Giants. Sinead Gilmore-Spence in the halves alongside Taryn Wiley. Haven't called Wiley's name a lot.
No, it has been a little bit quiet tonight. I think the one that's starting to creep into that list a little bit more is the Fremantle Roosters players. They look like they're hitting a bit of form in the last couple of weeks. They got the bye this week, but we had Kayla Webb serving up some pretty good stuff recently. Lena Nona Bush through the centre of the ground is always taking names. And Katarina Horner there. And then lastly, probably the big surprise to me, Donny, is how much the Willagee Bears share the load and how little they then get featured in Team of the Week because of that.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some really star players in Ruby Hodgson, of course, and also Brianna Young, who's been absolutely sensational for them. Yeah, you're right. In terms of their forwards, they really do share that around, and they set a good platform. They lay on some good shots, but they do that as a unit. Teams making their way back out onto the field for the second half.
That's just about all I was going to say, Donny. Set and ready for another big half in the Westpac Women's Premiership. Game day sponsor this evening, Westfield. Important one for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs here tonight, just to keep ticking away and keep in touch, trying to go for that first spot on the ladder. Just waiting for when the Willagee Bears will eventually have a little falter in the season, if it does come at all. But this is a big one. I think we spoke about it a lot pre-game, and it's one of the Joondalup Giants you've got to target when the big players are out for the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. It's a really good one to strike, and they looked really good in the first 10 minutes, and then probably just got a little bit nervy through the second 20 minutes of that first half.
Yeah, they did. They started to look a little tired, I thought, after that first try from the Rabbitohs. There were some signs of fatigue, and that last set of six, the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs looked like the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. They just ran at 1,000,000 miles an hour, were impossible to handle. Started with Arsam. There was Kyra Tamia had a big strong charge as well and desperate to score as the Giants come up with an error on their first set. So the Rabbitohs, well, I mean, if they come out with that same attitude that they finished the first half with, they could really blow this game away quickly.
Bunce just losing that one forward, and probably the worrying sign there is the body language. A lot of heads dropped straight away. They don't look all too keen to pack into this scrum either, although there is some now smiles between the props, but when isn't there?
All very friendly here tonight. It's a great opportunity for the Rabbitohs. It comes out, it goes with Robinson, one of the Rabbitohs try scorers. Stands in the tackle. It's been hard to put down as Talmia again will play the ball quickly, and Pomare gets out of dummy half. Is able to run a long way before she gets to Matthew. Back out there now, Leach. Talmia, another charge over the top of one, over the top of two, and slams that down. Well, that is power personified.
It's a pretty good start by the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. That's the intensity that you spoke about, Donny. They really looked like themselves in the back 5 minutes, and once again, they've come out from deep, running onto the ball hard, and 1, 2, 3, 4 involved, 5 call it in the tackle. No one underneath the ball, the most important part, able to crash through. They get the first strike of the second half, 14-6 with a kick to come.
Just to give an indication as to how good that run was from Talmia. The first player she ran over the top of was Amaria Edwards, who's a very good defensive player. Just an absolute speed bump there in that occasion. The Rabbitohs extend their lead. Conversion attempt, relatively straightforward this one for Curran, whose first strike was from right out on the touchline. It looked a good nudge, but didn't quite have the legs. Based off that, I'd expect it to knock this one over. The Giants, well, suddenly they need a response, Nick.
Wait for this one to go.
Oh,
Hooking, always low. Yeah, they need a bigger response. I mean, they were kicked the ball to start this half and just couldn't get that first set together at all. Going to need a bigger lift. It looks like they're moving towards halfway with a little bit of brisk and a bit of intention at least. So there's no heads down. There's plenty of footy left in this one, but they're going to have to get 3 good ones unanswered. So probably 4, because I'm going to say Ellenbrook scores at least 1 more. Testing times here at Admiral Park on a Friday night in the Westpac Women's Premiership.
Giants kick off and get us underway, and it's Assam. And this power game in the Rabbitohs, it is causing problems for the Giants. Sarah Assam with the first carry. Now the try scorer, Talmia. She's leaving them in her wake. Barreling over the top of them with every carry. Now Paseni Grinnell. Well, there's the triple threat, the 3-pronged approach. And on the back of that, they try and use the ball and come up with an error.
It was a dynamic looking start to the set again, and it's when they go for that weirder pass, not the flat pass with speed. It's the weirder pass that has just got them a little bit off kilter tonight, the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. This time it's on a switch in from Toby. It's not to be. Not the hardest one to take either. Sandy Tower just a little bit too much speed coming onto the ball. Scrums have been an absolute mare tonight. We'll repack again. Oh no, is there a little knock-on in there?
There must have been a knock-on at the base of the scrum because the Rabbitohs now have the scrum feed. The Giants, it's not often in the modern game you work on scrums at training, but Joondalup might be doing just that on Tuesday night with the way that they've gone with their scrum so far. I'll get another opportunity.
They're going to hash it out tonight, and there's going to be plenty of opportunity by the looks of it. Probably just the one training session for the season normally does it for the league teams. Not the biggest focal point of the afternoon.
Well, they've given away a penalty and a knock-on so far, so it's been costly. They negotiate that one successfully.
Almost a seatbelt tackle on Lowndes. A little bit of discomfort. Taroa was going back awkwardly. He's feeling that left knee.
A lot of strapping on it,
yeah,
and it just gave way there, didn't it?
Which is, what's the strapping doing if it's still giving way? Mustn't be much holding that in terms of ligaments. This is the halfway line looming. Giants just looking for a completion here. Still plenty of meters up for grabs in this set. Bump off tackle from Talmia. Been active so far in the half. Flat ball left-hand side. Parakura Shernak, another loss forward. This time Gilmore Spence out wide, just losing it forward. It's going to be a changeover, middle of the ground, strapping from one of the physios. Just not coming together yet at all in the second half. The Rabbitohs will get another chance. Pomare settles behind the tackle. Flat from Gray. Better defensive efforts coming out to meet though. Tukiwaho goes backwards, eventually plays to Imala. Gets us into inside the red zone. No real urgency in this set just yet. Now a little bit of pace and lost forward out wide, Pomare. Eventually the whistle blows, we get a scrum.
Just another fundamental error, really. Just trying to hit the hole. Toby just put it out in front. Just changing a line last moment there, Pomare, to go into the hole, but it meant that the ball was over her shoulder and comes up with a mistake. Just as they were building. It's been a bit of that since the first try here of the second half. Rabbitohs just not quite able to complete after some good build-up work. But now the Giants. Well, Edwards late to get to dummy half. In the end, the couple of Giants almost ran into each other to take that roll. And Edwards gets in there again for the next tackle, but they're going nowhere in this set. Good defence from Leach down low. The ball's come out, and it's just a knock-on for the Giants against Moorooka. And they look under pressure right now, the Joondalup Giants.
I think it's a headspace thing. They really just have not been able to collect themselves after that last try in the first half. It's really just put a dampener on their spirits, and certainly isn't a game that's still not lost for them. They can bring this one back quickly, put a lot of pressure on an Ellenbrook Rabbitohs side that don't have those usual heads to steady when things go wrong, and right now they're unable to put any of that pressure back on. Defensively, they're pretty sound. They've been tackling all night. It's been good tries that have beat them. Rabbitohs look like they've got a good opportunity here to make this one extended even further though. Lowndes gets herself involved in the attack early in the set. Leach, flat ball, going back inside. Beard. And they set out nice and deep out the left here. Passanel Grenet, inside switch was ignored. Taroa goes through the line. Short side still available. Curran is calling for it, gets shuffled the other way. Flat on the inside, stepping through a couple. Is that the line? Sure is. Another try to the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs, putting the Joondalup Giants into all sorts of negative headspace pressure. 6-18 with a kick to come. And it's not looking good, Donny.
No, it was power in the end that got them across. It was a good line in the lead up from Natalia Tiaroa. Just hitting space, and the Giants were able to come up with a tackle on that occasion, but they come up the other end, and Tiaroa goes over to score the try for the Rabbitohs.
It's probably been the story of the season so far. A bit of change in personnel. They've obviously got outs today as well, but we're just missing that spark from the Giants, the attitude of years of toil to then finally beat Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. It really had character, it really had something behind it, a movement from the club, and in 2025, dare I say, seeing none of the spirit return back into the club this year.
No, well again,
none's harsh.
Yeah, I think that might be a little bit over, but yeah, no, I mean they certainly look a different team this season. They've got a lot of young players that have come through, but you look through their list and there's still a lot of quality there. There's enough quality in the team as we see the conversion attempt from Gray, and that goes across the face as well and waved away. So goal kicking hasn't been a huge feature for the Rabbitohs tonight. Doesn't look like it's going to be costly at this stage. 18 points to 6 on the Westfield scoreboard. 41 gone as we have another look at Wall just heading back in behind the ruck to score that try, and again finding too much space that close to the line.
I'll try not hammer the point all night, Donny, but I think it was the first thing I said to you when we came in tonight. We said that there's the outs with the carnival happening. First thing I said was good list, Joondalup, targetable game. You know, I think we all want to see this team do better than they currently are. That tee has been causing trouble all night tonight as well.
Malika's got it how she wants it.
I think that's just the general sense of frustration right there.
I almost feel like we need to see your favourite play.
Kick on first?
We need to see kick on first. Martha Malika, Sinead Lowndes, those speedsters chasing it.
I Look, you're not wrong, actually. Now that I consider my favourite play in footy, I've only called for it once before, I think, and I got it right.
And it happened.
It happened.
And it was a try.
And I never saved the clip, and I'll rue it to this day.
It exists out there somewhere, I'm sure.
Miss heading down to Rockingham for those games. They were a belter.
The Rabbitohs trying to heap further pain on this game as Tuimalu through the middle, late offload, bouncing out of tackles, out to Gray. Gray goes out to Lowndes. Lowndes wider to Pomare. Pomare steps back infield. The Giants slid across, scrambled. Leach to dummy half. To Toby. Toby goes to the sky. A tester coming forward to it. Well, it was the player going back in Edwards that takes the catch. That could have ended badly.
Had to surrender pretty well under it. Not this time, Donny. We're not going on first, not calling.
They've got to find some way of getting out of their own end because their last set, they went absolutely nowhere.
Oh, there's no one on the outside coming to help.
No one wanted to run it.
No.
Well, we could dummy to a bunch of players that had their
people that
backs
said,
turned.
not me. Not me today. That's a better hit up middle of the ground. Met nicely by Grinnell. They do have a good 4-on-4 on the left-hand side here. Gilmore Spence eventually goes wider. Quick play of the ball, although held up by the halves. Kick goes in the middle of the ground. Should be all right for Lowndes to circle back around onto. Took a lot of time, though, and runs out of a little bit of space, but the chase isn't that strong to begin with.
No, it took a lot of time because she had a lot of time. There was no chase.
From half, the Rabbitohs will get their set back underway. Slipping underneath the tackle of Gilmore Spence. Toby up to her feet now. Leach, right-hand side. Turner, juggled it, managed just to hold on. 15 minutes to go in this one. Rabbitohs in full command at the moment and they want to go quickly again. Leach can't get on the inside shoulder far enough to break the tackle, wants to get up and play. On the outside, Tukiwaho filled in at half, high kick to the corner, Wings easily able to get it, Munro. Driven backwards, maybe backwards into goal the whole way, couldn't surrender underneath. We're going to get a goal line dropout. Even there, you can see Tegan Munro just trying to suck in a couple of big ones after getting driven backwards. There still is intensity. A few of these Ellenbrook Rabbitohs players look pushing for a more permanent spot in this side.
Absolutely. I mean, they've been very good. I think we've been critical of the Giants a fair bit, but there deserves to be a lot of credit for the way that the Rabbitohs have warmed into this game. They perhaps didn't start with great patterns, but they've really warmed into it. It's pretty much that last set of the first half. From that moment, they've looked like they know exactly what they're doing and how they've got to win this game.
I think they let the first one in and they said, that's not the standard. And they've certainly picked it up from there. This is a good goal line dropout. Cups a hand, so they've been able to at least retain possession off the goal line dropout, which is about as good a result as you can get. Something wrong with the play of the ball. Ready to go now.
Edwards with a good strong carry on first play. Maybe that'll start the set off right. Getting out of dummy half. I don't know whether the marker was square there in Tiaroa. The referee seems to have put the whistle away. He blew it plenty early in the game. But haven't heard it as often in this second half as Matthew driven backwards, been the Giants' best. A dummy to the outside. Takes the tackle. Solomon into dummy half. It comes across to Gilmore Spence. Floater out wider. Now the Giants put down up near the 40-metre line. Gilmore Spence to kick from just inside the 40. Goes straight down the throat of Lowndes. Lowndes with a bit of room before she gets to the chasers. And it's the kicker that makes the first contact. along with Edwards, who stayed down. And there's concern straight away for Edwards. Got the arm in an awkward position. Looks like that shoulder might have popped out. It's not pretty viewing, and you saw Lowndes straight away signalling to the referee, we've got to stop play, she's in some pain.
It's real pain. Oh, little fumble. Campbell on first, did look for the offload, and just goes through a set to hands. Gilmore Spence retires on top of the footy. Now Joondalup want to get crafty with it instead of just going forward. They've lost metres from the offload.
Offloaded to herself, I'm pretty sure. She threw it backwards and then got pushed back onto the pass.
Harrison straightens things up a little bit neater. Almost loses control, maintains pressure on the forearm. Got to finish this one deep. Waiting for a mark. Eventually Gilmore Spence. There's zero intensity from the first pass. No real chase up from the Rabbitohs, so it ends into a pretty regular play if you looked at it on a sheet of paper. Just the timing was off from everyone. Outside, Wiley. Last here, where's the option going to come from? Kick to the corner, winger's already dropped. In fact, dropped too far behind the footy, can get it on the bounce. Sideline, manages just to stay in. It's all about defence here. Can they lock this one down for a couple of tackles? Stevens breaks out of the first. Gets the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs started on this rebound set. Well, if they can pick from half, they sure will get those metres back straight away. Markers aren't square enough. Lowndes gets valuable metres. Little flick on the outside. Rabbitohs through Gray, gets short of halfway in 3. Now that goes through the middle of the ground. Grinnell. Doesn't look like there's too much mystery loading up in this one. They set it deep and release the kick. Chase comes from Curran, although she's on the outside shoulder of the pass, so tackles for Tao, who gets beat first up and then manages to hold on second time. 10 minutes to go here. Joondalup will have to be pretty good from woe to go now. Herrera just gave a little one on the outside. Just getting caught on the angles and these driving back tackles. Been pretty handy tonight. Took Iwaho maybe that time. No, it was 16 in Gray. Certainly mucking around with the footy tonight.
The Rabbitohs, their first up contact has been really impressive. We see again, able to run a long way before getting to Leach, but so makes that first contact, no misses. Leach has stayed down in the ruck. I think she's okay, just trying to stay out of the way. The Giants, positively, they've got to their kick the last 3 times. No one sits up for Lowndes and claimed as soon as she gets it. Chasing through there, Sinead Lowndes. No relation, spelt differently, Lowndes and Lowndes. But an error from the Rabbitohs. And well, the Giants, they've played better footy the last 3 sets. They've got to their kick. They're starting to look a little bit more in this contest. And if they score next, convert a try, we might have a bit of a grandstand finish.
There's a big chance. Certainly one that they've built a bit of momentum towards at least. You're spot on, Donnie. It's just about who's going to step up here. The intensity in attack is the question mark. Who's going to take this one on? Switch inside on first. Gives an opportunity for Grace Mathieu. Quick enough play of the ball. Little break from half. Had to cover across Grinnell to make the tackle. Out to the right-hand side. Little flat ball from Wiley. We'll fill in at half now. Under the sticks, tackle in hand. They can set this one up pretty nicely right underneath. Numbers are split pretty evenly across the park. Left-hand side the call. Flat ball, one-on-one tackle. No way to get through the line. Believe Gilmore Spence. Oh, it was Amy Harrison. Just got stood up in the tackle. Joe Solomon sends a high kick out right. Was lost forward, sure was. They get another chance at it, Donny. A little bit of reap for awards coming surely.
Yeah, the kick here goes across from Solomon. And just put down the player in an offside position. Well, not a lot of choice there, but to pick that one up for Emerson Robertson. Otherwise, the Giants could have dived on it and potentially scored. In any case, they get another set of 6. Wiley at dummy half. Goes across. Swamped there. Here's Solomon. Now Parakura Chernak. Gilmore Spence takes on the line. Beats the first defender. Gets out of another tackle and is put down just a couple of metres short. Parakura Chernak to dummy half. Dummies and spins around. Went nowhere. Waste the play. Comes now to Wiley. Wiley to Narry, who was going the wrong way. Get it out, they say. They get it out, they do. Now it's with the Giants for the corner, and Moeka just couldn't get the ball back infield. The swarming Rabbitohs defence gets across and saves the day.
Thought this one had a really good chance early. And you probably wouldn't get yelled at too much if you have a little dive at the corner from 7 metres out there and try your luck. Better than looking inside, but they managed to get a touch. And a fresh set of 6 to go again. Wiley says, I don't want it outright yet. Gilmore Spence will send it left. Flat ball on offer. They beat the first tackle, in fact. Had to wrap on nicely to Pessinegranel. Flat again. Gilmore Spence toes it early in the set. They can recover. Not played at. Still live in the same set. Narrier outside, floating sort of ball. Curran was able to effect a pretty good tackle. Goal line defense have got to settle underneath. We're going to kick on 4. No, we're going to go from half. Roll underneath the 2-4, stripped to involved. We'll go for a 3rd time, Donny. They just need to get one over the line.
Well, Queenie Curran came up with a great tackle to save a try, but also comes up with a strip as Herrera taps, goes Moeka, stepping towards the line, reaches out and gets a piece of the lever on the grass.
Not where they wanted to score it to make the kick easy, but certainly can get themselves back into a dangerous position if they can convert from out here. That's not exactly how I'd root it up for them to get over finally. Moeka off the right foot, managing just to get the shoulders turned over, spinning through the tackle. A good try, 10-18. Kick to come, very important to get this one into level up opportunities.
Vital. This is a potentially match-defining conversion. And as you said, from out wide, trying to convert her own try. Mother Moeka has been one of the players that's perhaps looked the most likely for Joondalup. And a couple of times they've gone right, and they just need to get it out. You can actually hear it from the sideline mics as the conversion attempt. Well, it just didn't quite have the legs, and that might take the air out of the balloon of this game.
Well, they just tried to give it a quick blow. One of those ones as a kid where you get asked to help to blow the balloons up and you go, Dad, I can't get it past this big. It just rebounds back at me a little bit. The gust of wind just not healthy enough. You get bigger lungs in time, son. That's what a rebuild season's sometimes about. Need an error after they complete a good set, score, and then a kick on first is where it'll come with a minute to go, Donny. A kick on first with a minute to go to try win this one in red time. Rabbitohs have just got to D up well for the last 4 minutes of this game. 3 minutes, in fact.
Their defence has been pretty solid from Ellenbrook. The Giants, they've Well, a slow start to this second half after a fast start to the first. It's almost the opposite of what happened in the first half. This second 30. The Giants taking it forward, or rather a crossfield in that tackle. Robinson and Pomare just driving in that tackle. Now the pass to Edwards. It was behind her. I don't think it was meant for Edwards. She manages to hold onto it and reel it in. Robinson rips her to the ground. A little look out at dummy half, and they go back in behind the ruck. Pomare and Toll make the tackle. Riku Shiranak goes to Gilmore Spence. Puts that down into space, and Rachel Lowndes, who's been good tonight, comes forward to it, beats the first. Hasn't quite broken the game open like we thought she might, but has had some good carries.
Consistent game, didn't have to do too much else tonight, but certainly not breaking down the barn doors to kick Ruru Hanaki out of position at all.
We're down to this final 90 seconds, a penalty to the Rabbitohs. Pomare decides she doesn't really want to kick for the sideline, so it's Queenie Curran to come across and knock that into touch. She does so.
Over in the other game, Willagee Bears have extended their lead 50 points to 6 now over the Kalamunda Bulldogs. So they're going to remain undefeated again. They're going to be 5-0 on top of the log, Donny. See if they can go twice around the competition undefeated. Now, that's something only Ellenbrook have ever done before. And it'd be something if they certainly could.
Absolutely. So Rabbitohs trying to put the cherry on top of what will be a pretty good win down on troops, a lot of them over in Victoria, representing Western Australia. It's Tukiwaho. Looks to fire a shot. Here comes Talmia. Talmia's been strong. Leaves another couple behind. They hold onto a bootlace and she trips over her own feet. The only thing that stopped her from scoring. The wide pass finds Curran. Steps inside. Spins around. Ball's come free. One-on-one strip. I think that's Mother Muika. Comes up with a try saver. Scored down the other end. And comes up with a one-on-one strip to save a certain try here.
Need to see if we can get a second earlier on the replay there. That is a ball and a half to the wing. That is stuff of magic. That's pass of the night out of nowhere. There wasn't a pass of the night, and all of a sudden there was.
I believe it was Tatiana Fisher throwing the pass.
That was a filthy one. Siren sounds, ball goes into touch. There's a long whistle. Is the referee going to make us play?
I think it's out on the full, so it has to be a penalty. In the middle of halfway.
Take the points.
They've tapped. They're going. One more play. Trying to barge over through Tuimalu. The Giants, they get all 13 there to stop her. And that is full time. The Rabbitohs, 18 points to 10 winners on the Westville scoreboard.
Tremendous night once again here in the Westpac Women's Premiership. Probably a hard one to do the votes for, Donny. If I had to throw one around first up, I want to give Taumea probably one vote. Good running all night. Scored a try as well, I believe.
Yes, did. Yeah, got across for the first of the second half.
And then 2 or 3, mate, I'm giving that to you because I've got no idea where else I could throw them around.
I've got to give a couple of points to Michelle Grace Matthew from the Joondalup Giants. I thought she was sensational. Emerson Robinson, I thought was really good as well for the Rabbitohs. Mel Toby had a good game. Shamaya Gray was strong as well through the middle of the field. Queenie Curran did some good things as well. Maybe not quite involved enough to get the points. Rachel Lowndes, another that you could throw into the mix, but I think I'll stick with the first name I mentioned there. Emerson Robinson is the Rabbitohs' best. No,
absolutely. That's fair enough. Next week, round 7, they've got a double header again. Willagee Bears taking on the Joondalup Giants. That's the first game at 6:40. Then into the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs versus the Fremantle Roosters at 8 o'clock, which will be our game. We'll be live at 7:50, call it, for the 8 o'clock start here on YouTube for the Westpac Women's Premiership once again. But this has been round 6 brought to you by Westville. Thank you very much for joining us all, and we'll catch you all next week.